I loved to go back to the pictures of the villages that Jamila just showed me, and I recollected my own work in villages which are very similar. And I think villages look similar in India as well as many parts of the world. My name is Ayush. I'm here to talk about Kheyti. And here in the picture you have one of the hardest working farmer, Lalita, that we work with. Our effort is to fix the future for smallholder farmers. Over the past 8 years, we have developed a product which is basically like an umbrella or a raincoat that we all use. It's like an umbrella or a raincoat for crops, for plants, and which is very suited for smallholder farmers. We believe a solution like this has the potential to move 500 million lives out of poverty and ensure food security in this world. Before I go further, would like to briefly talk about my own personal journey. I was also an urban grown-up boy, like all of you, and would briefly like to talk about what got me into agriculture. I belong to the southern part of India, where 90% of the middle-class households are raising their children to become software engineers. The balance 10%, probably doctors, And I was in that small last 1% who was dreaming to be something different. As a kid, apart from going to school, I joined my family business. We used to set up and run pollution testing for vehicles on gas stations. The small business gave me immense learning, much more than any school could really teach me. More importantly, it gave me the drive, it gave me and inspired me to become an entrepreneur, to solve and fix a problem around us. I'll move fast forward. I got into college, got into job. I was working as an investment analyst, thanks to my analytical thinking ability. I worked in CRISIL, a Standards and Poor company. 5 years of my job, I was crunching numbers on Excel. I was making financial models for some of the top institutional clients in the stock market. I was enjoying this life, I'll be honest to you. But during all this time, in India, I was hearing the plights, I was reading about the plight of smallholder farmers, and that was disturbing me. As per a government data, we have 30 farmers committing suicides every day. Just in the year 2010 alone, 15,000 farmers committed suicide because of agriculture distress. Things like these disturbed me, and I started thinking, can I do something about it? And that is when, and this calling made me to quit my job. I and my friend, Satya, who's also my co-founder at Kheyti, we both came together and we said, why don't we start an enterprise in agriculture? We don't know how, but we learn and try to fix and understand the problems of farmers. We started my first company called Cosmos Green, where we had very simple 2 objectives. We first decided to do agriculture our own self, get on the ground, feet on the ground, and do agriculture ourselves, and learn how to do agriculture well. And the second objective was, once we learn something, we help farmers to replicate the same. We soon realized agriculture is a very tough profession. Coming out from the AC rooms, from working in offices to get onto the field, it was a very tough experience. I lived in a small village in South India, very beautiful village. That is where I learned what is minimalistic living and how beautiful that life is for these farmers. At the same time, living with them also taught me how difficult it is to take care of their basic needs on day to day. Eventually, in Cosmos Green, we were able to do agriculture on large acre of land. We were able to demonstrate that agriculture works in bigger pieces of land. We trained 8,000 farmers, 250 farmers on a daily basis. We used to help them sell their produce from the village to the city so that they can fetch better price. While all this we were doing and we made progress, we were somewhere still dissatisfied because of the depth of impact. With the farmers that we were working with, we saw that 3 out of every 5 farmers that we are working with still has crop failure. He still is suffering. And that was something that kept on, disturbing us. Okay, what next can we do? As we studied more about climate change, we realized that there are globally 500 million smallholder farmers who depend on agriculture, and their livelihood is at risk because of the word climate change. Very honestly, the farmers, they don't understand the term climate change. For them, they don't understand. They don't know the term called climate change. They know something is changing around them, something is changing in their profession. But what basically is increased temperatures, unseasonal rains, storms, increased impact of pests and diseases, and all that is changing their daily work because they are open to sky. What we realized is this world needs 70% more food by 2050 to feed the 9+ billion population that we're going to be. And just imagine, 80% of that food comes from smallholder farmers like these in continents of Asia and Africa. I wondered a lot of times in this journey that why is it that a small farmer is still farming? He could leave farming and do something else, right? I would have done that if I would have been a farmer. But I realized there's something more deeper. There's a deeper attachment to what they do. I don't know the perfect reason, honestly, but I think it's a mix of things. A, in India, farmers treat their land like their mother. They have a lot of attachment to their land. They can't leave it and go. B, they actually feel proud of the profession of able to produce food, which they feel is like a blessing because they're feeding people, right? And C, probably also because they don't want to migrate from villages and go to urban cities and do petty jobs, having a low standard of living. With all of this, when we started looking at this problem in India, we realized there are 100 million smallholder farmers who are working day in and day out, but their hard work doesn't pay off. Some of the data on the screen can show what climate change really impacts, how deeply it changes their lives. After a lot of work, we teamed up, Kheyti was born, and what we had was this umbrella or raincoat for crops. We call this the greenhouse in a box. Basically, it protects crops from unseasonal rainfall. It protects crops from pests and diseases. It saves a lot of water. And if you look at the structure, it's a very simple structure that can fit into anywhere. The size of the structure is half the size of a basketball court. And we kept it modular so that the farmer can invest and then increase incrementally. We had made very simple design changes, and now the greenhouse costs 60% less than the solutions that were available in the market. Greenhouses have been existing for a while in this world, but the technology was not accessible to the smallholder farmers, primarily because it's not affordable. And that is where Kheyti and its people, our team, put our brains into this and said, okay, how can we build a very simple solution? What does a greenhouse do? A greenhouse basically helps you to reduce temperature. It helps crops from pests and diseases. It will also take care of your crops in terms of unseasonal rains and storms. And very importantly, it helps you save 90% of water that you use, right? That's what magical a greenhouse can do. Now, this is the farm of Lalita. I showed her in the first slide. And this was a very interesting experience that we had. In this summer, in the month of March and April, she had sown cucumbers in the open farming and inside the greenhouse. She sowed the seeds in March. Till April, things were going well. And in the mid of April, suddenly the game changed. The temperature soared to 46 degrees Celsius. It was a record temperature in our part of the country. Her crops outside literally got damaged in the matter of those 10 days. Forget any yield, she couldn't even have the money to actually remove that crop. And inside a greenhouse at the same time, she bought a greenhouse from us just 3 months before this, and this was her first crop. She saw the crops, the cucumbers were thriving. She had taken a very good yield. She sold that harvest in the market and made money. Lalita kept telling us that every year, why is it that the temperatures are increasing year on year? I told her it's climate change. She said, okay, but this greenhouse is working for me. And she told me, can you set up another greenhouse and add it to the same one next to it? I really felt happy because even in the summer season, she was able to use her land and make some money. But the roadblocks are many. Greenhouse works as a technology, but there are farmers who are at risk in terms of a lot of things. It could be access to inputs, good quality seeds, the production knowledge, the access to technology, or even how to maintain. And all these problems can actually take them back into the poverty. That is where Kheyti has a holistic approach. What we basically do, not just give them a greenhouse, but we stand with them till they literally graduate and learn how to do greenhouse farming. We help them in terms of training, teaching them practices. We help them in terms of seeds and inputs. And we also are giving them access to technology so that they can use that and move forward. When we started in 2015, we had some idea on greenhouse farming. We made structures. The product took its own journey. But I think what we were very strong were go to the farmers, talk to them, understand what they want, and design for those farmers. We had a greenhouse, which was the first model, which costed about $3,000. And over a period of time, going back to the drawing board again and again. During pandemic, 2020, 2021, we basically got to develop a version 7, which we call Kheyti Rakshak. Rakshak in English basically means protection. And the cost was brought down to $650. The new model is much easy to install, easy to maintain for the farmers. Now, we have a multi-dimensional impact that we are leaving on the lives of the farmers. On one side, they're able to mitigate climate, adapt to the climate change, Now, what does this mean to a farmer like Lalita? She invests $650 into the greenhouse. Over a period of 10 years, she has the potential to minimum earn $5,000. And that means a 100% increase to her income potential. And in all of this, what I feel happy about is she will be able to save 25 million liters of water. All this couldn't have been easy, all alone, and we believe in not reinventing the wheel, and hence, Kheyti has been having strong partners in design, in manufacturing. We have signed up with the Stanford University and the Northwestern University to make this greenhouse better and better. We have been working with government and non-government collectives so that we can reach to these kind of smallholder farmers. Our focus is on women self-help groups because farmers like Lalita are the ones who actually adopt to such technologies and bring their families come out of poverty. We have been very fortunate to have some amazing funders and supporters. We have been also humbled to get recognition on different platforms. The recent one was the Earthshot Prize Award last year in the Protect Nature category. All this can only be possible because of a wonderful team. I think we have one of the strongest teams where we have Kaushik, who brings first principle thinking into the group. Soumya is basically a person who can get into detail and set up systems and processes for a program. And that's me, the farmer in the group, who basically likes doing farming, designing products for farmers, and basically solving the day-to-day of operations. We have a wonderful board and advisors who keep us accountable, who motivate us, and makes this a wonderful team. Towards the end, I only want to say we have 100 million smallholder farmers in India and about 500 million in this world. And they need our help. Our vision is to take Kheyti Greenhouse in a Box to about 1 million farmers in the next 10 years. It's a collective responsibility to make sure we protect the smallholder farmers because they are the people who are feeding the world. Join us in igniting the smart farmer, the climate smart farmer revolution. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.